Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SuppTalk Radio, another exciting podcast up on deck. My first co-pilot is single-handedly bringing back breakdancing for the over 50 community and is also the man behind the rapidly growing YouTube channel, Mission to Muscle. David, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
And
Did you hear me?
I think we're getting a reverb.
Oh, okay. How about now?
I think we got it. And of course, my next co-pilot, cannot talk anything without him. Are you guys getting it?
Yeah. I can hear you.
And of course, allow me to introduce Robik, the man behind the Apollon brand. Welcome as always.
Hi guys, how are you? Thank you for having me, Sean. Really appreciate it.
Robik, let's start off. How did to give us the breakdown on the Apollon Seminar? I've seen all sorts of videos, pictures. Are you proud? Give us the highs and everything else.
Oh, I'm just glad it's over, to be honest, because that was you stopped by about a week or two before the event, I think, something like that, and it was a lot of work. 8 months of absolutely nonstop, and the preparation, the nerve, the anxiety, the anticipation, everything that went into it. It's a lot of work, and I'm glad that it's not behind us. It was a smashing success. So I couldn't ask for a better outcome. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Awesome. So I know you're already thinking about next year. Who are you thinking about already?
Well, we have been talking to Lee Priest. Ronnie Coleman expressed desire to come back. We would love to have, I call it the rematch between Ronnie and Jay. So Jay was supposed to come to this one as well. So maybe that would be a great idea. I don't know. It's still a lot. I think we're going to start kind of preparing for it. Oh, Sean, you there?
Hey,
yeah,
it's you and me, Robik.
The hope disappeared on us. We'll probably start preparing for it sometimes around January. But right now, obviously, the goal is to suppress the previous one. It's always you have to evolve. So just hoping to get something a little bit better, a little bit stronger, and a little bit more hyped up. And Sean decided to let us run the show, I think.
Yeah, you know what? I should just pull up the questions here and
answer
them ourselves, man.
Guys, I'm here. I'm just getting a bad reverb.
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
Shit.
Coming in. Oh, got the professional mic going on there now.
That's it. He's gone.
You guys not getting the reverb? Because I'm getting a bad reverb.
No, I can hear you perfectly fine. Everything is great.
All right, guys, I'm gonna log out for a minute. I'll be right back. Keep going.
No problem. David, so number one, of course, congratulations on your growing channel. It's absolutely spectacular. I can't. Well, number one, I can't thank you enough for all the reviews that you've been doing for Apollon because, as I said many times, I'm very proud of what we do because I don't think that when we release a product that we need to hesitate about anything or be worried that anyone's going to say anything negative. If you know anything about the supplements, I'm pretty confident that we have absolutely nothing to worry unless maybe flavor, taste of a certain pre-workout that is a possibility. So what you've been doing and in record time that your channel has grown is absolutely tremendous work, and I congratulate you on your success, and I think it's very well deserved.
No, I appreciate that. But and again, I respect what you guys are doing because out of all the supplement companies, I've been doing this a long time as far as that I've been putting stuff together on my own just because of my diabetes and stuff like that. And then getting into the health aspect, when you guys are coming out with these getting into the health products right now, as far as the liver support and stuff like that, there are so many companies out there throwing these things out there for people to buy, and everything is so underdosed that it makes me sick. My wife will hear me looking at something and then cussing about this company charging this for this product. It doesn't even have this amount in there, and it should have this amount. These are the studies. And you guys actually are coming out with all, I don't give a crap about efficaciously dosed products, but to dose them per studies to where effects actually happen for health and training, you guys are just amazing that way.
You know what? I said it many times, and well, number one, of course, thank you. But I said it many times. It's not that hard because somebody like yourself and people. It's not much of a challenge to know what works and what doesn't work. Perfect example. Of course, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but it's pretty known company. I even would say a reputable company. They just came out with a product that, and I will admit that actually it's a single ingredient product, and that ingredient I wasn't very familiar with, I'll admit. So it was a little bit kind of hyped up, but I had my reservations about it. So I did a little bit of a basic research, and based on what I saw, I was not impressed at all. I was like, maybe I'm missing something. So I reached out to Robert Chinetsky, and I was like, just out of curiosity, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he goes to me, it's shit. It's pure shit. That's what it is. It says hyped up. The research has been done on rats. There's no human data on it. There is nothing. When he goes, it doesn't do shit. So it's not that hard, as much as I of course, I enjoy the compliments, but who doesn't? But at the same time, it's not that hard to put out good products. That's the reason why I'm always wondering, like, guys like yourself, guys that, have certain medical conditions, obviously you're doing research because you care about what goes into your body. And obviously you want to improve not just your physical appearance, but you also want to be healthy. So it's not that much of a challenge to find out what works and what doesn't, because all the information is right there. I mean, we have it. I mean, it's not a mystery anymore. You don't need to go to college or to have a special degree or anything like that. In today's day and age, I mean, everything is easily accessible, so you can find out. So to me, like you said, you're getting pissed seeing when something is underdosed. I can't say I'm getting pissed because I'm kind of happy. It just creates less competition for me.
Right.
I'm kind of happy when I see shit products. I'll admit that. But at the same time, I'm looking at it from a perspective. You're trying to fool the consumer by making false claims.
Exactly.
Unfortunately for you, you're a dumbass because there are a couple of channels that will expose you. And will expose you not based on hatred or anything personal, will expose you just on the fact that it's right there.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think though? More people just don't dose things properly. I mean, are they just kind of preying on the naive?
Well, yes, obviously, but I mean, it's basic. It comes down to cost to put out, expense. I'll give you an example. Tatka, right? David and I talked about it. If you take, for example, our liver product, right? It has 300 milligram of Tatka in it, which is a decent dose. I mean, it's a working dose, considering that it also works in synergy without ingredients in it. It's a respectable dose, but at the same time, you could take more. Like, for example, I actually add another 250 every day for health reasons, but the cost of that ingredient is absolutely insane. We're talking about 1 kg is around $700 to $800. It's an extremely expensive ingredient. So specifically when companies putting out products that are, for example, what would be a good example? Something like S7, right? Robert and I often criticize that ingredient because it's shit. S7 is put pretty much in every pump product. Why? Because it has a little R at the end, trademark ingredient. It doesn't do crap. It costs very little. It's a very cheap product. So it's window dressing. There are some claims that are obviously not supported by anything, and it looks nice. At the same time, you might get, and I've seen this before, you'll see a supplement facts panel where you will see that half of the panel dosed very, very well. And then the very bottom, you will see something like, I don't know, cognizine, right? Cognizine, which is CDP choline, you need about 250 milligram minimum for it to be
effective,
for it to work. But you might see actually 25 milligram. you might see 25 milligrams. So what it comes down to, everybody knows, or at least most people know, that that ingredient is amazing. And they'll see, oh, look, it's there. Doesn't matter that it's severely underdosed, but it's there. So obviously they hoping that the dose itself is going to be disregarded by the consumer. Unfortunately for them, again, somebody like David, and that's the reason why I like his channel so much, will expose you. Then you're going to be bitter and you're going to be upset. When David and I talked on the phone, I was like, I want you to review our products. Why? Because I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. I have nothing to be worried about. But there are certain companies, it's not to their benefit for him to review their products. I think that it's very, very dangerous, and they playing with fire. Why? Because you can go with somebody like, for example, Fitness Deal News TJ, and he will say labels are just labels. And to an extent, he might be right, to an extent. But unfortunately, when you see CDP choline at 50 milligram, labels are definitely not just labels. It's an underdosed ingredient, and it's a severely underdosed, but it's expensive. Hence, they put just a little bit in it, and they think it's more than enough because look, it's on the label.
Right.
David, so when you do reviews, you've done some, I'm going to say negative, but you've got a good spin on it that you never call it trash. I mean, you can read between the lines, but you're very diplomatic. Has a company ever gotten back to you asking you either to take down the video or kind of tear you a new one?
No, not at all. Not that I can recall. I mean, there's companies that kind of just shun me, I think I did a few kind of talking about L-theanine on a few videos when I first started out, and never heard back from those companies. Like, they don't even give me the time of day if I post on IG and I post a post. There's a lot of companies that the review isn't that fabulous, that are like Robik, to where they're just like, you reviewed it, thank you, and they'll share it, and they don't have any problems with it. But I know those companies that are offended already. I mean, there's a few people you've had on here that I'm like, yeah, you don't like me, type thing. Not naming any names.
Because I know you use Mystery Matrix, and when I hear that, I'm like, ooh, this might not be good.
Yeah, I mean, I just do that. Just I feel that there is, like we mentioned, TJ, as far as the labels are just labels. There is a certain portion of people out there that are, can I say, ignorant to the fact as far as the health benefits to some of these ingredients like betaine anhydrous. You want that at 2.5 because it's got way more benefits than just hydrating your freaking cells, and other ingredients out there that have health benefits at certain dosages. And some people are just into that quick effect. I get so many DMs and questions asking me, what's the best euphoria? What's the best product that's going to make me happy? And they don't care about the health factors about it. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you, man. That all comes from your heart, comes from your head and your music and stuff like that. There is no product out there that's going to give you straight euphoria. But the ignorance, I say the ignorance as far as they just haven't had health concerns right now or health conditions. So they're not looking ahead in life. They're looking at that momentary high that they can get for their workout. But I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent. I do that sometimes.
Has anybody with diabetes reached out to you? Kind of, because again, you're probably the only reviewer that's ever tackling the actual that health aspect.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of people over a period of time. I think I have a lot of subscribers that are diabetics, whether type 2 or type 1.
Wow. Okay.
Actually, David, I have a question for you. It's something that I've been doing research for quite some time now. And I hope you don't mind me asking this, but what is your opinion on, a lot of people are talking right now about berberine, right? And I like berberine. Obviously there is also the trademark Glucovantage from NNB, which is at least hyped up to be 5 times stronger. I'm still not sold on it, but okay, let's just say maybe that's the case. But again, I'm not sold on it. But my question is actually about metformin. I read tons and tons and tons of data about it, and I see a lot of people who are not diabetic have been taking it, and they take it for fat loss. They take it for, age-related thing, like where they
Mitochondria problems.
yeah, they think that it's like fountain of youth. Apparently, there is very little to no side effects, and it's not dangerous to take for somebody who's not diabetic. And I'll admit, live on air, that I've been actually taking it. I'm not diabetic. I've been experimenting with it since last week. And I noticed some changes. I have. I'm not going to make any claims because I honestly am not the type of person to say something that I don't know. I only know what I read about, literature and stuff like that. And a personal experience, I noticed that I'm very carb sensitive. So when I dieted right now, and I lost about 25 pounds or something like that. And I'm very carb sensitive. So when I diet, I pretty much lower my carbs close to nothing. I increase my fats though substantially, and it seems like my body reacts greatly to that. This week, however, I upped the carbs a little bit, and I've been taking 500 milligram of metformin extended release in the morning with breakfast. I have noticed that I'm just as lean as I was when I was on pretty much close to zero carbs. And I looks wise, I think I look better. Again, it could be just in my head. Totally could be. However, the entire week, and I don't know if it's related to metformin, could be just because I was stressed and I'm tired. I feel like I've been hit with a frying pan. Like I've been very, very, very tired throughout the entire week. Again, I don't know if it's related to metformin. Physical appearance, I think it's better. Carbs are added, which should actually help with, I guess, energy, but my energy is absolute garbage. So I just wanted your opinion on metformin. What do you think about it for a non-diabetic?
As far as energy levels, do you take your people who do take it that aren't diabetic should still be taking their sugars, a glucose test, because it can't.
Once, I'll admit, I haven't done it once.
Okay, because it can still drop your sugars, and someone who's not diabetic, who doesn't know what it's like what it feels like to have your sugars lower than normal, because everybody's different. People can run at 70 and feel fine, 80, 90, and feel fine, and another person can run at 120 and feel fine. And there's a certain.
Give me 1 second, Pete. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, did he say something?
Well, he said that all, so we can go to hell. Sorry.
So anyways, physically, on a cellular level, we all work differently. So we're all going to have different levels as far as how we feel energy wise and all that stuff, at certain sugar levels. So if the metformin is actually dropping someone who's not a diabetic, their sugar's too low, let's say not low enough to where you feel dizzy or faint, but low enough to where it's shuttling the carbs and utilizing them faster than your body is normally used to absorbing and utilizing, then the tiredness, achiness, soreness could be low sugars, and your body just kind of reacting to the idea that it's not metabolizing the glucose like it normally wants to, so to speak. So definitely, like if someone like yourself, I suggest getting a glucose meter.
Okay.
And checking your sugars. Like when you're feeling that kind of tiredness, check your glucose, and if you're sitting like at 70 or 75 or 80, then if you're feeling good at another time, check your sugars again. And if that good feeling, you're sitting at 90, then that means you're dropping a little too low.
What is your opinion on metformin as is for a non-diabetic that people have been taking it? I'm not going to say recreationally, but for health benefits.
I prefer people to actually try to get healthier without the use of drugs, as far as making themselves more carb sensitive by not eliminating carbs and keeping good quality fats in their diet. Because what happens with insulin resistance and all that is because our diets suck and our cells aren't working properly because we've either consumed too many fats or we're not consuming enough carbs, and our diet is kind of like a keto type diet, and then we become real resistant. So as far as I'm concerned, it's just to directly answer your question. I don't feel it's safe if someone's not checking their glucose levels.
Okay. No, it's a good answer.
So for somebody who's going to do that, like yourself, I think as long as they have a glucose meter and they can actually every once in a while, if they're feeling weird or different than normal, they can check their sugars just to make sure they're not sitting at 60, which is really bad. So you can go high or you can go low, and you can actually be bad for your organs and your system. So brain function and all that stuff.
Okay.
So just to put out a disclaimer, if anybody is listening to this on any audio feeds, we're not prescribing, we're not subscribing. It's just three guys chatting what works and what doesn't work. So like always, talk to your doctors, make sure everything is looked into.
Hey, on another note, berberine and all that stuff. So being a type 1 diabetic, GDAs, to me, I've had very few that actually really delivered like metformin would. They do this.
No, I totally agree. That's the reason when people ask me when Apollon's going to come out with a GDA thing, I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's almost like a snake oil in a way.
Oh yeah, I think it's a gimmick that I don't buy into it. Absolutely.
Right.
Robik, what did you think of the fight last night? Well, it's fresh on everyone's mind.
I was, I did watch it because I'm a huge Anderson Silva fan, no matter what. And considering we're about the same age, I was very, very curious. Obviously, I was rooting for him. I thought that he did absolutely phenomenal. His footwork, the way he moved, everything. And I thought if it wasn't for a slight mistake where he was kind of like on a back foot and was dropped right at the end, I thought that he was winning the fight. I think that obviously, he's past his prime, and I think in his prime, it would not even be a question. But I thought it's just bad luck, and I think Jake Paul got lucky. On the other hand, listen, people can talk shit about Jake Paul all they want. The kid started boxing like 2 years ago. He can box. He can definitely box. He can hit. He can box, and to get to what he does, it takes a lot of training, a lot of dedication. And everybody who says how much they hate him, well, you hate him, but you're still watching his fights because he's exciting. He brings a certain level of entertainment. To be able to be a bad boy and to sell tickets, that takes a lot. The guy's been fighting again for 2 years, and he has like 5 or 6 fights versus guys who are in UFC or Bellator and have 20, 30, 40 fights and barely make $50,000 a fight. That says a lot, because at the end of the day, it's also business, and you got to be not only a good fighter, but you also have to be a good businessman. And I think honestly, he's both.
He surprised me because even his brother is wrestling. And say what you want about wrestling, there is athleticism to wrestling. And his brother is just as popular. I mean, they went from YouTube jokes to, they're doing what they're doing well.
I think I respect them, to be honest with you. Like I said, to be able to play a dick the way they do, it takes skill, and they're very, very good at it. And in terms of, I agree with what Pete said. To be able to do what they're doing is incredible. In terms of wrestling and jiu-jitsu, I've been doing mostly, well, not mostly, only stand-up, where I've trained in boxing and I've trained in Muay Thai. And I remember I was training at MMA gym once, and they offered me to go, and wrestle and do jiu-jitsu. And I remember being submitted by a 16-year-old in a matter of less than a minute.
Jeez.
And I was like, okay, this shit is hard, like really, really hard. So anyone who can wrestle, anyone who can do jiu-jitsu, it's a skill. It's very, very tough. And, again, I just have respect for those guys. That's it, no matter what. And if you don't like Jake Paul just because he has a big mouth, so be it. The kid is a genius. I think he's a very smart businessman. He knows what he's doing. And regardless, right now he has a W next to his name against one of all-time greats.
Speaking of fighting, Robik, somebody asked, when you started fighting, was there anyone you looked up to or tried to pattern their style?
Again, I did boxing when I was a teenager, so it doesn't really count. It wasn't like, I achieved anything great or anything like that. It was mostly kind of for the love of it and passion, and I enjoyed the challenge more than anything, and I ever enjoyed fighting. And
What about Muay Thai? Maybe let's look at general in the overall.
Generally speaking, I mean, just like everybody else, I grew up with Mike Tyson, and to me that style, that aggressiveness, ferocity, I mean, that was standard, I think, for everybody. We looked up to him. But my all-time favorite boxer, believe it or not, is Lennox Lewis.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of sort of a gentleman in and outside the ring. And I always liked, to me, the key when it comes to fighting, don't get me wrong, I like McGregor, I like Tyson, I like the aggressive guys. I like those guys who are, bring entertainment value. But to me, it's always guys like Fedor, or like Anderson Silva, like Lennox Lewis. So those are the ones who will shake your hand before the fight, will shake your hand after the fight, and will treat it as a sport and as a art, and as and will show respect. Because I think respect is something that is lost, especially these days. And I think that's something that's hurting us. Like for example, you or Pete, we bust each other's chops, but it's all done out of respect, and there are limits that we do not cross. Because we are friends, we can say certain things, but they all in a good, loving, friendly manner. Whenever we need something, we just reach out to each other and, ask for help or assistance, and we're usually there for each other. I think that is what is lost. I think that level of respect, like today, to tell somebody go fuck yourself is pretty much a standard, and it's almost like normal. And especially, all these keyboard warriors and stuff like that, they go and they offend people and they hurt people's feelings. I was talking to and about somebody today who I find often can come off very disrespectful. And I said, when you disrespect somebody, when you offend somebody, what you not taking into account is that person has feelings and maybe goes through something in life where, they maybe have a loved one dying, or they have a sort of a tragedy in a family, or a health issue or something like that. And you're going and you're insulting that person, you're hurting that person's feelings for absolutely no reason. To me, that is totally unacceptable. And I remember, this is, I guess, where Peter is right. I am old. I remember 20, 30 years ago, if I talked back to somebody who was older, if I would disrespect somebody, there were consequences for that. That was not allowed. I mean, that was just completely a big, big no. I remember, if you were riding a bus or you were on a train or something like that, and a woman would be standing, or an elderly man or a woman, you just get the fuck up and, give up your seat. But today you can go on a subway or on a bus, and a 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 25-year-old will be sitting his ass, while somebody in his 60s, 70s, 80s will be standing, obviously suffering, and nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit, cursing and stuff like that, and talking back. Kids disrespect their parents. It's a standard. It's okay. And, and if anything, a kid can say to you, if you touch me, or if you say something, or if you shame me, I'm going to go to the police. I'm going to go to court. I'm going to sue. I mean, you have kids suing their parents today for saying something. If I looked at my mom the wrong way, I was scared of my mom when I was in my 30s. I would talk to her, back to her, because there were consequences. Yes, I mean, I was somebody who was in the ring, and I was somebody who would fight and get into fights. But talking back to my mom, I would think twice about that. I always said I've been in a few fights, and my nose is broken. And the only one who broke my nose was my mom.
Was there a tool of choice?
Crazy, right?
I'm not going to go and say it was intentional. It wasn't intentional. It just, I was a kid. I talked back to her, and I was misbehaving, and she threw a slipper at me, and that slipper landed on my nose, and she broke my nose. So, it's funny now. Shit, this Jewish nose doesn't look good as is. So, but the bottom line is, respect is something that is lost, and something tells me that we're not getting it back anytime soon.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my issue. Go off on a tangent here. That I feel technologically we keep going up, but I think society and socialism and everything else is just going on the decline. Like I'm almost afraid to see what's going to be in 20, 30 years with our grandkids or great grandkids to see what situations are like then.
Yeah.
You know, but Robik, so somebody asked, when is your next fight? Because there's a video floating around from the seminar where you were kind of squaring up against somebody. I don't know who it was, if that was just a photo moment or if that's something that's, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's his name is Justin Gershkevich, and who is actually one of the best Muay Thai fighters in the United States. Somebody I respect greatly. I consider him a friend, and he was supposed to be a couple of years ago. Was supposed to be my swan song, my last fight. An easy fight for him, and just an experience for me. Yeah, I was supposed to be the punching bag, but I agreed to it because I love the challenge, and it just, that fight never materialized. It never happened. There was some issues with the promoter, and just let's just say, it's one of those things that never materialized. And because I was already in my early 40s, kind of, since it didn't happen, it didn't happen. So he was actually one of the guests at the All-Star Seminar. He just goofed around, and he said that it would be cool to do it. The challenge was real, actually. The challenge was for a charity. It was for a charity, for money to be donated to the victims of war in Ukraine, which is obviously something very important to me, something very close to my heart. And we did square off. That was, of course, in just good fun and for entertainment purposes. Nevertheless, we did talk about it after, and it's not something that is ruled out. I mean, something that I'm willing to entertain, he's willing to entertain. It comes down only to logistics, where and when. Obviously, I'm turning 48 in February, so it can't wait that long. But it's something that I would definitely do, especially for a good cause. Yesterday, one of the fights during the Anderson Silva. I mean, Anderson Silva is my age. We were born both in 1975, and seeing somebody like him do what he does, obviously, I'm no Anderson Silva, but to look up to somebody like that, you do draw inspiration. It does kind of like motivates you. And I'm no stranger to working hard and challenging myself physically. I enjoy it. It gives me a great level of satisfaction. I love the adrenaline rush as well. And then on the card was also Dr. Mike, who was born in Russia, and he's not a fighter. He does boxing only as a hobby. He's a doctor. He's a celebrity. I mean, YouTuber, a blogger, very, very popular. And he was fighting yesterday for a charity, I believe, for Harlem kids or something like that. And that also kind of like inspires you to do certain things. So, would I do it? Yes. We'll probably revisit it in the next month or so. We'll talk about it, and if possible, I'm definitely game to do it. Why not? Especially if it's for something good.
Is he your age or is he younger or?
He's younger than me. He's about, I would say, roughly around 10 years younger.
Oh,
He holds a couple of belts. I mean, he's very well known in the States. He's way more experienced than me as well. But again, it's a challenge. I respect him greatly. I always like a challenge. I mean, look, Apollon Nutrition was also a challenge. A small, tiny little brand out of a small, tiny little gym. And I think we achieved quite something, and I think we're still growing. So I think that if we don't have a challenge in life, I mean, look, David is sitting right here, and David is diabetic, and and he has his challenges, and he has a full-time job, a family. Nevertheless, he has an incredible physique. He can dance better than most people I know. Very intelligent man, and somebody who I find to be very inspirational too. So I think that just goes to show that anything is possible. Well, maybe not anything, because that's usually exaggerated, but almost anything, as long as at least you commit yourself and give 100% push.
Yep.
Thank you, Robin.
So, Dave, a couple of questions for you. What is your favorite Apollon product or products?
Hooligan. I love Hooligan. That's my pre-workout there. It's funny. Ari was saying, oh, you know, I was talking to him and he said something about that's a lot of caffeine and I'm not taking that every single day or, you know, more than 2 days. I'll take that sucker 4 days in a row. I'm fine with it. I love Hooligan. Liver support. And right now, one of my favorite ones, I still got to do a review on it, is the collagen. I really love the collagen. I've been researching it so much that it's the formula is just it's perfect. It's dosed and everything. I love what they did with that thing.
To be honest, you took me to class with your Tutka review from the Liver Lover. I mean, I was learning a little something from your review, but like I walked away like felt like my IQ jumped like 5-10 points.
That was amazing.
Yeah, well, you know something. A lot of people who are insulin resistant, type 2, type 1 diabetics, type 2 diabetics in particular, they've got a communication problem between the pancreas and the liver, and they should be taking like liver supports. Then that's the perfect one because the enzymes are going to be up, the communication's wrong. A lot of people go the wrong route where they just, instead of trying to take care of their organs first, like the liver, they go straight to like pulling carbs and eating more fats, which is going to damage them even more. So as far as that particular product, it's actually a daily, it's in my daily regimen pretty much. I may take a week off between bottles, but I think it's a perfect supplement that people should be taking for all kinds of health benefits as far as cellular level, mitochondria, liver enzymes. It's fabulous.
Do you get off it because it's suggested to kind of not clean out the system, or is it just your personal choice?
It's personal choice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, any adaptogens or any kind of ingredients out there, our body does kind of adapt to the ingredients to where it doesn't work as well. So it's just, in my mind, I'm like, I'm taking a week off, 2 weeks off, and I'm jumping back on just so I can, you know, reap the benefits and nothing's happening as far as my body's not, you know, doing something else with these ingredients because we don't know what's going on the inside.
There is an interesting question from Simon regarding collagen products and kidney stones. I did hear it a few times. Maybe David, you can answer this better than I can, because otherwise I would be probably biased and defensive. But I had kidney stones, and I do take collagen products. I mean, I have the best one, so why not? As far as I know, and again, before David maybe answers this better than I do, kidney stones are, you know, it can be attributed to genetics and poor diet as well. But I think I had kidney stones, as far as I remember. I was actually told because of excessive amounts of protein that I had, and I used to consume excessive, I mean, crazy amounts of protein. But at the same time, just like with anything in life and in health, I think it's very, very hard to pinpoint to one reason for certain things happening. You know, I mean, I know that I have genetically high cholesterol, and when they wanted to put me on statins, I refused. Instead, I didn't really change my diet in terms of fats. I still eat my steak. I still eat my whole eggs. I still eat my bacon. The only things that I did change was I did increase my cardio. I added a good source of garlic pills, red yeast, niacin, and my cholesterol levels have dropped tremendously. I'm still on a higher side because I believe that's genetics. And when my doctors asked me if I eliminated the red meat and I eliminated bacon, if I eliminated eggs, I said no. I said I didn't do shit. I did add, though, healthy fats like avocado and unsalted nuts and olive oil and stuff like that to my diet. So I did add that. But in terms of eliminating, I didn't do shit. So when it comes to kidney stones, I don't think that, I mean, you could pinpoint and say very high protein diet might be harmful, and probably it is, because there is a limit to anything. You cannot abuse shit. And as well as I said that, you know, there were obviously some literature on high amounts of creatine also being somewhat harmful. But again, I've never seen concrete evidence of that actually being the case. I know my aunt had severe kidney stones on numerous occasions, and she's anything but athletic. And, as far as I know, she's never even touched collagen. She doesn't really eat a high protein diet. And I know for a fact she never touched creatine. So I think it's mostly genetics. But again, I could be wrong. So maybe, David, you can contribute to this, but it's an interesting question.
I found no correlation as far as in studies that actually made sense, because protein's protein. So although collagen is broken down 100 to 1,000 times more as far as the absorbability of the protein, that actually even makes it healthier than regular protein as far as the digestion goes. It's going to go the places it needs to go. So I believe you're right as far as genetics. High protein diets can cause that. Here I'm a type 1 diabetic and I have no problem with my kidneys, but then there's type 1 diabetics that do. And, I'm not focusing on taking care of my kidneys directly, other than drinking a lot of water, trying to balance out my food intake and my macros and stuff. So I like genetics play a role in, I think, a lot of our ailments, and then how we live and process life.
Simon said his is due to high amounts of oxalates in his diet, but I'm not sure exactly what type of foods are high in oxalates. But
sorry, Penny.
It's okay. So I don't know if you know what oxalates are, David, because Simon, the one who asked the original question, said he had high amounts of oxalates, but I'm not sure what kind of foods are high in oxalates.
Oh, I'm not sure myself. I'd have to look into that.
Okay. So, Robik, so David had a little bit of a heads up on some of the questions here. So we actually have some personal ones here. So here's an interesting one. So you're both married. When did you know your wives were the ones?
I still don't, huh?
Cop out.
I'm going to get in trouble for this. Honestly, you know what? I think that these are the types of questions I hate, because they're very, very personal. Nevertheless, when I'm asked something, I feel like escaping the question is also not very honorable. So you have to answer it. I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that, because I think that when something feels right, it feels right. When something feels wrong, it feels wrong. This is my second marriage. My first one collapsed after slightly over a year, and I met my wife when I was still married to my first wife, and it just, and there was no plans to get married a second time, as anyone who's been through divorce knows, usually that's a very, very painful process and very unpleasant. So once you're done with it, most of the time, from what I've seen, people say never again. And that was my attitude, by saying never again. And I remember that my parents and my friends and family members, they all thought that my wife, Marina, she was the one. They actually thought that before I was thinking that. So they were, I would say, I don't want to come off as a dick, but I was pushed to pop the question, so to speak. And I said, no, because I've been through hell and it's not going to happen. So I remember my stepdad, who's a jeweler, he offered me a couple of times to make a ring, basically, engagement ring. So I would propose, and I it got to a point where I was like, okay, leave me the fuck alone. It's not going to happen. And that was pretty much the case, where one day out of the blue, I walked up to him and I was like, you know what? I want to order a ring. And he looks at me with fucking huge eyes and he goes like, what? I was like, yeah. He goes to me, you serious? I'm like, yeah. Don't ask me why I want it. Don't ask me why it happened. It's just one of those things that happen, where you know that something is right and you feel it and you do it. Sometimes you're right about it. Sometimes your instincts are right. Sometimes they're wrong, but you go with them. And, just like when I walked into Apollon Gym the very first day, and I went to the owner and I'm like, I love this gym. I said, I want to buy it. And he told me to go fuck myself. I fell in love with the gym, absolutely in love, and I didn't have any money. And then when he wanted to sell it, I still didn't have any money, but I still bought it. I went out of my way to buy it because I was in love with that gym and it felt right, even though the gym was not making any money and it was a dump. And It just, I think that sometimes in life we don't plan things and they just happen and they work out a certain way. And sometimes you just have to accept it for what it is. So the answer is, I honestly don't have an answer when it felt right or when the decision was made. It just kind of happened and that's it.
Okay. So Pete says just take the one that will put up with you.
Pretty much it. So my next wife is Pete.
David, I know your wife's sitting in a corner. Have you had a little time to think about it?
Actually, I haven't really had to think about it much. But honestly, besides her being the most beautiful creature that ever walked the face of the earth, hope
she's like this right now.
She has a sign. He's reading it right now.
The moment that she was able to, only person that's ever been able to do this, calm me. So I have a tendency to where I'm pretty, as you guys can see, I'm who I am on video, but if somebody's disrespectful or I get pissed off, I can go from 0 to 60 like that, especially bullies, stuff like that. And she's been the only one in my whole life that's been able to grab my arm and just say my name in a calming manner and calm me down from jumping out of the car, from going further. And she's also been the only one in my life that has taught me to control myself. So she's the one, and she's taking care of me on levels that she doesn't even understand. So I appreciate her and love her for that. Yeah.
She gonna jump in the frame and give you a big hug in a minute here, or
no?
You know what? It's actually to that extent what you just said. My ex-wife once said to me, we were both very alpha, both very, very strong, too strong.
Yeah.
It's funny that what you just said, because she said to me at one point, she goes, I know the reason why we're getting a divorce. She says the reason is because we are both too strong and too hot-headed, but one of us needs to be able to calm the other one down, and neither one of us can. We actually tend to piss off each other more than anything else. So I think what David said is absolutely right. Somebody has to be, when you have one asshole in a marriage, in this one being me, the other one has to be able to control you and to push that button by either saying your name or doing something where they able to prevent you from doing something stupid, for making a fool out of yourself, and to calm your nerves, to calm you down, and to bring you back to earth when maybe you lost it for a split second, which is very, very possible with, I guess, not just my personality, but David's too.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's got to be a balance somehow. But yeah, if she was more alpha, we'd be button heads. She's a tough one, though. She really is.
So for me, as weird as it
to be tougher actually than the tough one. You might seem to be tough, but it's actually the one who can calm you down. He's way tougher than you.
You know, that's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, as weird as it sounds, my wife actually sent me a dozen roses for my birthday. It's always the other way around. Like, we as guys generally give the girls the flowers, and she sent me a dozen roses, and I was like, that's creative right there. It won me over, as weird as it sounds.
That's awesome, Sean.
I know, it's weird. It's sentimental. I'm goofy like that.
That's cool.
Next time you come to Apollon, I'm buying you roses.
For you, it's going to take a little bit more than roses.
Fuck.
So, Robik, obviously a lot of talk, as always, about Apollon, brand of the year. Okay, I think it's almost given. But if you had to pick a 2 and 3, who would you say? Or maybe even David as well. Who would you say, has maybe impressed you both this year from a second and third standpoint?
Last year, and I said it a couple of times, I wanted to win that brand of the year more than anything in life. To say I was obsessed would be a total, understatement of the year. This year, I didn't plan on doing it. We didn't plan it as a team, but kind of the releases kept coming and coming and coming. And I know we've done this year way better than the year before. So, I mean, without trying to come off arrogant and disrespectful. I'm not going to say that, my mission in life this year was to win brand of the year. I would rather, as much as it sounds a cliche or maybe stupid, I would rather have peace in Ukraine than brand of the year, because there are more important things in life, especially when innocent people are dying. And I think that, statement was made last year. Nevertheless, I think that we deserve the second one. I really do think so. I know it comes off biased, but I mean, the facts speak for themselves. No other company has done what we've done this year. That's the bottom line. So I think even there shouldn't even be a conversation. Again, I'm not the one who's making the decision. I'm the one who would accept the award. Me, my team, Carolina, Marina, I mean, we would accept it, but I think we do deserve it. I think there should even be a question. But, sometimes in life things don't work out the way you want them. So if the question is who deserves to win, Apollon, hands down. And I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. That's the honest answer. In terms of number 2 and number 3, last year I thought it was a little bit more competitive than this year. This year I've seen, in the beginning of the year, I've seen a little bit of something from Bryce. I thought that they started off the year kind of good, but then I didn't see nothing from them, maybe just like a drink here or there. Morphogen, I thought he's going to have a very, very strong year, and they released a couple of products beginning of the year, but then again went very, very quiet. So to be honest with you, I don't really know who can be second or third. I mean, maybe Apollon should get first, second, and third. That would be pretty cool. Something that hasn't been done. But the one who always gets somewhat of attention, and I think the marketing is on point. At least I'll give them that, and I'll respect the company tremendously. And again, I don't care what anyone thinks. Is Ghost. I don't think they've done much, honestly, but at least I always see some type of creativity from them. I see something from them, something going on. Other than that, to be honest with you, no company really comes to mind. I think Performance did something also at the beginning of the year, but not much.
They've cooled a little bit.
Who's that?
I think they've cooled down a little bit as well.
A little bit. So I haven't seen, because at the end of the day, I think it all comes down to consistency, and just being able to consistently release products, flavors. But also what David pointed out in the beginning of the podcast, I'm sorry, I don't think, and again, this is personal, maybe just because I'm behind Apollon, I think if you're releasing an underdosed product, I think you're spitting in consumers' face.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should not even be in a contention of getting anything just because you have a shiny label, or you have, a cool flavor, or a collaboration with, some giant who makes good tasting candies. I'm sorry, but I don't think that should reward you for a brand of the year.
Totally.
But when you put in your heart and soul into your products, where you can proudly say, look, again, the truth is right here. You just had your favorite products. David just said his favorite products for Apollon. Peter put something about his favorite products. I believe I just saw he'd said over. Everybody had something different, but I'm not ashamed of one product that we released. Not one product. I'm proud of each and every product, because you will not be able to find one underdosed product. Maybe you don't like certain flavor. Maybe you don't use certain product, because God knows I don't use all of them. That would be a lie. But there is no way that you can pick up an Apollon product and say, well, this product doesn't work, or this product is underdosed, or this product does not deliver. You will not be able to do it. So that's the reason why it's so hard for me to pinpoint to a company that I think that deserves even second or third. David reviews a lot more products. Well, I don't review shit. I just talk shit about them. So he probably knows better than I do. David, what do you think?
Pete's message came up about Apollon doesn't win again. The Democrats cheated again. I started laughing on that. Sorry about that. as far as companies, and this is not just an ass kissing thing because you're on here. Yeah, I believe Apollon, you guys are consistently coming out and with new versions, updated, upgraded versions, constantly coming out with new products. And that's basically what I consider with a brand of the year, where someone's consistently revving things up. And now, as far as companies out there, there's some good companies, but a lot of them, in my opinion, have slacked off with new stuff. So it's like the beginning, like towards the beginning of the year, there were companies coming out with things. And then from there, Apollon's been one of the only companies that has actually been consistently coming out with new products. The only other company I can think of is Panda.
Yes.
I don't, they're, you know, I got the L-theanine thing, and like some other companies, that some of those pre-workouts don't hit me the right way and stuff, but consistently coming out with things and always trying to better their products, they're following, as far as Apollon's lead, it almost sounds like, and they're really, really coming out with new stuff. They redid their new Tropic, they're coming out with a new pump product, this and that. So consistent. So that would be
Robik,
my only other choice. Go
Do you
ahead.
think you're at the point now, and again, I know you're not going to come off cocky, where you can drop anything right now and it's gonna sell?
Yeah.
Because people know that no matter what you drop, it's a hitter. It doesn't even matter what it is nowadays.
Again, it's very, very, very simple because, again, just a little bit of research. I have the same tools that everybody has. I don't have anything that is not accessible to anyone else. So when people say like, "Oh, look, it's an Apollon product, so it's probably good. It's definitely good or whatnot," flattered, 100%, yes. But again, David said Panda. Um, Panda did, yeah. I can't believe I missed on that, but Panda did improve a lot, and they do come up with products, and they do try. I actually like I think greens formula. I thought
Yes.
that the protein tastes very, very good. I like the look. I like the marketing. Yeah, I mean, probably Panda, but I think that it comes down to how badly you want it. And I think you have to be competitive with yourself and constantly evolve. And it's not that hard. I mean, we put our goals in front of ourselves in terms of like we want to get better and better and better. I mean, look, I'm in my late 40s. David, your early 50s?
53.
53. I mean, look at him. I mean, he looks absolutely fantastic. He looks fantastic, and again, like I said, I mean, the guy is not a bum who just wakes up in the morning, goes to the gym, then takes a nap, and eats 5, 6 meals a day, and that's his life. This is a family man. This is somebody who has health issues, somebody who has a full-time job, but he continues to improve, and he enjoys it. He enjoys it. It's not that difficult. Yes, the workouts are not easy. Yes, following a diet is not that easy. It comes down to discipline. But if you really, really want it, it's achievable. You can do it. So the same thing is like, as much as I enjoy all the props and I enjoy all the respect that I get and the company gets, it's not that difficult. You just have to stay consistent and you have to stay disciplined. There are priorities in life, and if you follow them, then everything falls into place. I would say that my life is not that hard in terms of when it comes to, oh my God, how do they release so many products? It's not that difficult. You just apply yourself, you commit to a certain goal, and that's it. And if something works, just stick to it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, but
So this
can I
ahead,
say
David.
something though? The growth,
Please.
the idea about living and growing, like always constantly trying to be better, a better version of yourself, and the growth. Apollon in the supplement industry game is the epitome. They're up there as far as like they should be like right on the top to everybody looks at that as far as how life should be, as how we should strive to always improve, always be better. So it's not always about coming out with a brand new product, just like when they Time Cop 2, I haven't tried yet. I'm hoping to try that. The Hooligans, like when they're revamping these products, they're just looking at it and they're just like, we can do better on that. Now we got these ingredients we know more about, and we can do better on this one. And then they're stepping up the game that's the growth in itself. It's like always looking at your life and then always striving to be better, even if it's just changing something you already do up. So
100%.
respect, big time.
Thank you so much. And look, another friend of ours, Peter. Peter is old as fuck. He fucking looks like my former rabbi. But look at him. He all jokes aside, Peter is in fantastic shape. And I see sometimes he will tag me. He will use like a product or something like that, and I see he trains like at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatnot. And his job is also very, very challenging, and he helps me sometimes with certain things. Like he helped me with the words right now for the past seminar, and he told me, like, give me 3 or 4 weeks or whatnot. It's going to be done. It was done on time. He calls me. He's I needed to make some adjustments. He was there. And he's on the road a lot, but nevertheless he trains. He's in fantastic shape. And again, these are the people that I draw inspiration from, and they're my friends. And it's I would be ashamed of myself if I didn't for 30. Well, there you go, Simon. Yesterday when Anderson Silva lost the fight, they did an interview with him, and before the interview, I said he's probably going to announce his retirement because he's old. He lost his fight, even though he looked amazing. And then I asked him, "What are you going to do?" He goes, "I'm going to go back to the gym and I'm going to try to get better, and I'm going to continue, and I'm not stopping. This is what I was born to do." That's and I'm sitting on the couch watching it, and I just had pizza. And I'm like, you know what? I know I can do better. I know I can do better. I know that as hard as it is, I know that I can do better. Just a little bit better, just a little bit raise the bar. And David was right. All I did was I took time cop from previous year and I said, like, how can I improve it a little bit more? And the changes are very subtle. It's exactly, if you take the two labels and you compare them, it's exactly the same product. I mean, I didn't try to reinvent it. I didn't try to change it. Why would I change something that is already great? I just added something that I thought would improve the product. Definitely not taking a step back, but just improve. I knew the flavor could improve because it was absolutely disgusting last year. And it's still not that great, but it's improved. The dosages are improved. And believe it or not, actually, I took some of the points from David's review about overtime because most of the ingredients from overtime are in Time Cop.
That was cool.
I was like, okay, we improved overtime. We can improve Time Cop from the same perspective because it doesn't need to have more energy. The energy was already insane. But if it can improve the mental focus a little bit and concentration, we already have a better product, even if it's by 5-10%, because I see people are changing their formulas and they come in with V2 and V3 and V4. And I see, like, okay, motherfucker, you didn't actually improve it. You made it cheaper. And I see it all the time. You made it cheaper because I know the cost of ingredients. I know what you've done here. You changed the label. The label looks better. Maybe the flavor is better, but your product is not better. It's just different, and you're calling it V2. Well, you know what? If I'm going to send David V2, I will, and I can say David became a good friend of mine. I don't need to bribe him. I don't need to ask him. I don't need to say anything. I know the review is going to be great. Why? Because I know he's knowledgeable. I know he's going to compare the products, and I know how he's going to react. So I'm going to send it to him in full confidence. And the product cost me more than the previous one, yet we're charging exactly the same. So you don't have to be worried. Improving is not that hard when you put your heart and soul into it and you're trying your best. You just have to apply yourself.
So what I'm hearing is royalties are coming to David for that little bit of tidbit info.
100%. The check is in the mail already.
So one of our older gentlemen wanted to ask, training now that you are older, how has that changed?
Who's he talking about?
Probably lighter weights, more machines, and maybe a little bit more warm-ups, but definitely, you have to be smart about it. You can't be stupid. You just have to. I always laughed when people said training smart, not hard. But I think you can train hard, but still don't forget about common sense and being smart. Because the bottom line is, you walk into the gym, you can get hurt at any point, but at least try not to get hurt and try to train smarter. I watched Ronnie Coleman, and he said that when he did 2 reps of 800-pound squats, the only thing he regretted, he didn't do more reps. It's very impressive. It's very inspirational. It's very cool. Yet, I would not have that regret. I'll be honest. I would not.
Yeah.
But that's just me, because the trick is not just to look good, but I also, David has diabetes. I have in my family diabetes. I have blood pressure, heart diseases, you name it, I have it. And when you have a child, when you have family, when you have responsibilities, I would like to live a healthy life for as long as I can. We still do stupid shit. We still train like idiots, despite being maybe careful. We still put all kind of crap into our bodies. That's a fact. But we're still reckless with certain things. But at least just try and think that it's not only about you and your health, but it's also about loved ones and people that you can affect with doing stupid shit.
Do you train harder, David, or because I don't think I could ever do your warm up 100 pull-ups or whatever you start your back workout with.
All right. Yeah, actually, I trained the same. I remember when I was 48. I felt strong at 48. Actually, 45 and 46, I felt actually really good doing when I was doing, I think it was 45, 44 when I was doing CrossFit. Super strong at that age. And I actually train, I feel it more, but I still push it. I don't do a lot of I know I met my goals as far as, deadlifts and power cleans and snatches and all that stuff way back when. So you won't catch me doing much of that as far as heavyweight. But I'll push it in the gym. Like, used those 100 pull-ups. I 30 seconds rest, 40 seconds rest in between sets, seeing how much I can accomplish in an hour and 15 minutes.
So you pay a lot of attention to cardio as well.
Oh, through training, pretty much.
Through training.
Yeah, so I'm constantly moving and constantly getting the blood circulating.
So supersets, all that stuff.
Right. And I focus on some of the exercises I do, like when I do kettlebell swings and jump squats and stuff like that. I'm focusing on the lymphatic system as I've gotten older, because that's a system that doesn't pump. We pump it by moving our arms and our legs and stuff. So for immune health and everything, to get that lymphatic system going, I'm always on the elliptical. I'm always doing something that's squatting and jumping, where I'm using most of my body and most of my limbs to actually get that system going. More so, I focus on that more so than I do actual cardiovascular on the treadmill, walking 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And it's just worked out for me. I feel healthier that way. Because I feel I get, the way I train, very quickly, I get a cardiovascular anaerobic hit just in my training alone. So.
And plus, you do 5 minutes of breakdancing and you're good.
Yeah, I love that. If I could work out and just do breakdancing, I would. But I'll be honest with you, the hips do not move like they used to. So every once in a while, day afterwards, I'll be like, why does that hurt? Oh, yeah, I did that video yesterday.
Now, same person, what about supplement usage? For me, I've added more of a multivitamin and more fish oils, but I don't know if it's just because of age or just because of what I know what they do.
In order for me to keep going, I've had to up my fish oil. I've noticed, and I do take multivitamins. I take 2 animal packs a day with a meal. Not that that's gaining any muscle or anything like that, but just with the way I tax myself. And as we get older, our body's breaking down. That's why the collagen supplement's even super important for people that are our age, because we're breaking down so much quicker than we used to. And we have to kind of keep up on it if we want to keep our joints, our ligaments, our skin, our hair, everything, brains, organs working properly. We got to keep all that nutrition coming. So I do 10 grams of fish oil a day, and I do 2 animal packs a day. And pretty much I make sure I get at least 3 servings of vegetables. I'm not a big fruit guy all the time, but you will hardly ever see me do anything less than 3 servings of vegetables. Fats are always avocados, healthier fats. I don't eat a lot of steak and chicken, although my favorite food, if I could eat it for a lifetime. Wait, that's one of the questions, I think.
Go ahead, throw it out.
Bacon. I'd eat bacon forever. I'd live off of bacon if I could eat it and it wouldn't affect me. But I just watch my fats. I've had to watch my fats more so. I think at 50 is when it pretty much happened. So when 50 happened, it was almost like I remember turning to my dad and saying to him one day when I was working, I was getting up, I was working on an air conditioner, getting up, and I look at him and I go, why is it? It's like 50, boom, everything's popping now. My energy has dropped a little bit. It's just interesting how things happen as far as we age and stuff. So yeah, so I've had to up it. Actually, if I would have been supplementing like I am now at 45, with the knowledge I have now with the ingredients, I take antioxidants as well. I make sure I get grapeseed or pine bark in because they help with that oxidative stress, which is going to help with the endothelial tissue and the walling, blood flow, vasodilation, all that stuff. If I knew what I knew at 45, I'd probably be even in better shape now than I am. So I just hope that people learn it a lot quicker so they can continue. Because I'm going to be breakdancing. My son's going to have his 50th birthday, and I'm going to be 80 something, and I'm going to be breakdancing at his birthday party.
A little slower, but
it happened. No, I'm going to be doing it the same. I'm going to make sure I'm doing it the same.
Robik, I know you're a fish oil person, but anything else you've added over the years as you get older?
I definitely, the fish oil, actually, one of my closest friends, Alina, she worked for a company that they make Amaral, which they do prescription fish oil, Basipa. I get that because that is absolutely amazing, and my triglycerides have never been better. I've been on it for the past 2 or 3 years, and that stuff is absolutely magic. So I religiously take 4 capsules every day. Multivitamins, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much standard. I do take Tatka. Like I said, that's my liver enzymes were always elevated, always. I think that was mostly probably genetic, maybe due to previous oral steroid use as well. But Tatka definitely is a miracle because all that milk thistle and all that stuff, I'm sorry, just won't do it. Live 52, all that crap, I'm sorry, but it's ineffective. I've tried it, it didn't do shit. Ever since I've been doing Liver Lover and I've done Tatka even before that. That pretty much fixed it. I mean, 250 to 500 milligram was more than enough to get my liver to where I need to be. And acetylcysteine, NAC, I'm doing 1200 milligram religiously. That I did notice it. And like I already said, garlic, red yeast, niacin, that helped me with my cholesterol levels tremendously. I do take, ever since I started TRT, I've been taking baby aspirin on a daily basis. That seems to work beautifully, in terms of blood and everything else. And I've been on TRT since the age of 36 or 38 or something like that. And never look back because, I do blood work 2 to 3 times a year. And every time, knock on wood, it's been pretty good. So vitamin D, obviously, I take that religiously. So that's pretty much, I would say, more or less my regimen. I do try to eat avocado on a daily basis. Again, I kind of got to like it a lot, but healthy fats, I'm definitely a big fan of. Cooking wise, I'm not a big fan of cooking on spray. It's just not my thing. I'd rather cook on avocado oil or macadamia nut oil. I absolutely love those things. Salads, obviously, with olive oil, that's staple. So that's pretty much it. I can't say that I'm a health fanatic. I do love to eat. I do love, obviously junk food and stuff like that. But I try to limit it to, one day a week or so. I try to behave, sometimes twice. Cardio I do on a daily basis, except Sunday. And I try to do different types of cardio, like Pete said. I try to train fast in terms of like doing lots of supersets and nonstop, very little rest to keep my heart rate up. And that's pretty much it. And I definitely did notice substantial difference in terms of like health and how I feel. So I think that it seems like it's a lot, because we just pretty much, if somebody would listen to us, they would think that we have no life. All we do is just take supplements, train, do cardio, and that's pretty much it. But that's not the case. I mean, the training and cardio take maybe, and I mean it, maybe an hour, hour and a half out of my day at the most. If somebody says they're training 3 or 4 hours, I was always like, okay, you're definitely not training, because if you train the way I train for 3, 4 hours, you die. So there is no way you're able to train. Like most of my training sessions in terms of lifting, they anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes, and plus on top of it cardio. But like I said, I move constantly. My breaks between the sets we're not counting them in minutes, we're counting them in seconds. I constantly move. I can finish on Fridays, for example. I do biceps and tricep supersets, and I do 3-4 exercises per bicep and per tricep, 3 or 4 sets each. But I pick a bicep and tricep exercise and I go back and forth until I finish. It takes me maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3, to finish the entire superset, because I just don't stop. So in reality, I can finish an arm training in about 15 minutes and my arms feel like they're about to collapse. Add about 30 minutes of cardio and I'm pretty much done. So I think that, there is no need to go crazy. And in terms of diet, you don't have to be fanatical, because we're not training for a show. We're not training for a fight. We're training for health and for physical appearance. And I think, it sounds already kind of like a cliche. We talk about it nonstop. But at our age, I think that we look fairly good for where we need to be. And I'm actually being modest right now, because I think I look fucking great right now. So you know what I mean. I know guys half our age, though, they don't even come close and don't have as busy lifestyle as we do, right? And responsibilities. So that's pretty much it. Again, it's not that hard. You commit yourself.
Yeah,
So the one thing I have
80-20
to
rule, though.
So not the schlong shine, as Ari would say, but Robik, when you have a minute, I would suggest look at David's channel, look at David's first video, and look at his most recent video, because you can see like David's face and everything, like a true, not that you were a big guy 2 years ago, but you can see the true metamorphosis, like just in your face and your arms and everything else.
Oh, thanks.
I like I said, David posts a lot of training clips, and I watch him train, and I don't know if it's your apartment complex or where do you train sometimes.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
A very, very small little setup, but it's perfect. And I see like the commitment and stuff like that. You don't need a Apollon gym. You don't need like these fucking huge training facilities. If you really commit yourself, a couple of machines and free weights, and you're good to go. You're good to go. It's all about how you apply yourself.
Yeah, the exercises you implement.
So we'll wrap down a few more questions here, because I know David's got a busy day here. But Robik, someone wants to know, why did you start TRT as 36?
That's I've been honest about it. I started using anabolics at the age of 26, I think. I was never, I don't think I ever abused steroids or anything like that. But if we're talking about cycles, I would do typically 1 to 2 cycles every year, and again, not abusing or anything like that. I did it mostly for physical appearance or for other reasons. And then I decided to sort of, I guess, stop or so. And I went to check myself out, and I was training for my first Muay Thai fight, because I started Muay Thai at the age of 36. I was training for my first Muay Thai fight, and I would not like lift weights or anything like that. On the contrary, I actually had to strip some of the muscles away to be faster and more athletic. And when I went to check my testosterone levels, because obviously training 2-3 times a week, Muay Thai and kickboxing and running and doing this, it demands a lot out of your body. And the typical testosterone levels are supposed to be somewhere around around 300 to 800. That's like an optimal sort of kind of range. When I went to get tested, because I did feel tired and exhausted, I think that naturally I was somewhat, not a disaster, but it was on a lower side. Obviously, I think from 10 years of using it, I was around, I think I want to say 200 or something like that.
Wow.
It wasn't ideal. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen people who had 50. So, I went to see a doctor who was highly recommended to me, and we did the full blood panel, and we went over all the vitals and stuff like that. And we found the range that he believed would work for me. And, I started TRT with him, and it worked out great. I'm, again, not in my nature, but I will say it. I didn't just use TRT. For some of the fights, I would up the dosages a little bit, using other compounds that would help, because when people say that they are 100% natural when they're fighting and stuff like that, I'm not going to say everybody's lying, but a lot of people are lying. I'm just not the type. So I would use a little bit more, not bodybuilding style, none of that, but I would add a little bit maybe of something like Mastron, would help with strength levels and kind of like with power output. I would add Winstrol, that would help a little bit also with endurance, so maybe a little bit of equipoise. Guys, I'm not recommending the use of those drugs or anything like that. I'm just putting out personal information, something that I've done. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not proud of it. I don't recommend it. But when it comes to being an athlete, unfortunately, sometimes we do things that we do. So I've done those, but again, nothing in terms of abusing or anything like that. And that would typically be maybe just throughout the camp, which would be like maybe 8 weeks. It wasn't done all the time. And then, just go donate blood, especially if you use something like equipoise, which increases your red blood cells. So it would be advisable to donate blood. Actually, I would recommend donating blood for everybody every 8 to 12 weeks. I would do that and go right back to TRT. But yeah, 36, I started TRT due to the fact that I was suppressed at that age, due to the use of anabolic steroids prior to that.
Let's be honest, you were doing it to level the playing field. I mean,
pretty much. Listen, when people are judging bodybuilders for using anabolic steroids, they don't have a choice. On a certain level, you have to do certain things. Are drugs bad? Everything is bad when you abuse it. Everything is bad when you use something that you don't know how to use. Listen, we have over-the-counter supplements that can fuck you up pretty badly, just because they are shitty, of poor quality, or because you misuse them. I don't think you should be using, 50 grams of creatine, but I know people who do it. I have people who come to Apollon, and we usually prepare shakes with 1 or 2 scoops of protein, which is 25 to 50 grams of protein per serving. And you will have somebody who weighs 120 pounds and goes, well, I want to have extra scoop of protein. I want to have 75 grams or 100 grams. You're like, fuck, your body doesn't even need that much, but it can fuck you up. It's completely unnecessary. But, that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, while I gave some information that maybe I shouldn't have, at least I was honest, and I don't condone the use of anabolic steroids, nor will I say that they are bad necessarily. I will just say, you know what, when you do certain things in life, you do certain things in life, good or bad, and just be careful, use your head. If you don't know what you're doing, go consult a doctor or somebody who is very, very knowledgeable, somebody who you trust, and be careful, because you only get one life to live.
so for Robik or David, we all know Jojo, very close friend of Robik and myself, getting my test. So he's doing a show in 2 weeks, Dave. He's a completely natural bodybuilder, and I believe him because we have very close offline conversations. Getting my test checked after my show, would it be smarter to wait a few weeks or a month before getting checked for more accurate levels, or would it matter?
After a show?
He's got a show with next Saturday, a week from today.
It would probably be better. I don't know how Robert looks at it, but when his diet starts to get back into check and his nutrition starts to get back to more on a normal level, then that's probably when I would check it. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks afterwards, maybe a month.
Yeah, I got nothing to add. David is right. You have to kind of get, because when you're dieting for a show, especially that last week, your body, regardless whether you're natural or you're not natural, your body is a fucking wreck. You
Yep.
destroyed it. And when people say like, well, I'm natural, I don't give a fuck that you're natural. You're just dieting on fucking chicken breast and fish. Nothing healthy about that. If you think that it's a healthy diet, you're a fucking moron. You just did an hour or two of cardio, beating up your joints in your body. You brought your body fat to the lowest possible level that is also not very healthy. And your hormonal levels, despite the fact that you might be even natural, your hormonal levels are probably still fucked. So David is right on point. I couldn't agree more. You have to wait and kind of rebound and recover a little bit to get the accurate reading of how much damage, and yes, damage you have done to yourself, because nothing is healthy about this. Nothing. So whenever people, you know what, I keep saying it again and again. If you watch Dave Palumbo's video, Muscle in the Morning, he says, let's find out what's new in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. I'm like, bodybuilding, I can understand. Fitness, I don't know if those guys are very fit. There's nothing fit about this, because, most of those guys can't even fucking run a mile. They're not very fit. They're not very healthy. There is nothing healthy about eating fucking protein 5-6 times a day and not having a serving of vegetables and not having a balanced meal and beating up your body with hours and hours of cardio, destroying your lower back and training like a fucking maniac on no carbs. Will, yes. Willpower, 100% yes. Strong mind, definitely. Determination, commitment, all of those, yes. Healthy, not so much.
Right.
Yeah. One last question, guys, and then we'll kind of let everybody start in their day. But if you weren't doing Apollon or HVAC, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't doing HVAC, I don't know. I always look at I'd be in a biker gang. That's what my son told me. If I didn't start young, with a permanent job and stuff. As far as working wise, though, I mean, I've always had a passion. I think when I was 20, try to make this quick. When I was 25, when I it was 25, mid 20s, I ran into an old friend from school and found out he owned the Nutri shops, and started fixing his air conditioning for free, and he'd give me supplements. And in turn, he took me in and showed me the ropes on like the new products coming out. He was the first one to get arginine nitrate, but all these like little things, it was like kind of a process of life, learning about citrulline, learning about all these products and these ingredients coming out way, way, way back when. It just sparked this ingredient, this fascination for nutrition and supplements in my mind. So if I wasn't stuck on HVAC and I had a different route, I'd probably be doing something within the supplement industry, something with products, pre-workouts, supplements, or something like that.
So, what? David kind of threw himself under the bus here.
What's that?
I have on-air proposal to you.
What's that?
One of the next Apollon products, you'll help me formulate.
Oh, I'd be glad to. That would be awesome. That would be awesome, man.
Here you go. So you and I will talk, and obviously you'll get the credit and whatnot. But I think from what I've seen, because somebody asked me yesterday or 2 days ago about formulating a product for Apollon, and I said no, because I formulate my own products, and the only one that I ever go to when it comes to it is actually Robert Janetsky, because I do value his opinion greatly, and he's very, very knowledgeable, and certain things I don't know. And obviously Marina, who is Apollon Nutrition partner, who's my wife, she's a doctor, she's a pharmacist, so I go to her, especially when it comes to health products. But I think that from what I've seen, David, you have tremendous knowledge, and I respect that tremendously as well.
Totally
And I think that, one of the products that I'll be working on, I actually have a product in mind. I'm not going to say it right now, so nobody should even be asking. But I think that I'll pick your brain and we'll just discuss it. And I'll get your input on it, so it will be a cool exercise for you, and I trust your opinion.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for the chance. You know, I just
You're not going to say no.
it's like,
I was like, I don't know how to present it. I was actually, do I tell them that in person or whatever or not? But your answer right now, you kind of like threw yourself under the bus. I was like, okay, you made it easy.
it's a passion of mine, so it's just like that would just be fun.
Yeah, I even look, like I said, I know 1 or 2 products that I'm playing with right now, and I think your contribution is going to be very, very helpful.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for thinking of me.
So it won't be a GDA. We'll assume that.
No, we're doing products that work.
So, gents, it's been a pleasure to both of you folks, having you both on. Is there anything, maybe any questions, anything else we haven't addressed that you want to ask each other, or we'll let everybody get on to their wonderful day?
No, I just want to eat.
I'm ready. I'm ready to eat.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really, really appreciate your time. It's been an absolute blast. Might be one of my favorite, if not the favorite podcast I've done.
Oh,
And Robik, I want to thank you because obviously you're the one that said, make it happen, get David on the call. And here we are having a good old time. And it's
the one that I wanted because, like I said, despite the fact that people think of me, if I like somebody and I respect somebody, you know it. And David is an absolute stud. He is amazing when it comes to reviews. He is amazing when it comes to knowledge. He knows his ingredients. He's passionate and just all around nice guy. And I really, really respect him, consider him a friend. And like I said, he's going to help us formulate a product.
right back at you, Robik.
Thank you.
Big time.
I don't think I've ever heard Robik use the word stud for anybody. So take that in the highest regards.
That's incredible.
So, but for everybody listening, thank you so much. Have yourself a great week. And as always, follow David on Mission to Muscle, David Fredrickson on YouTube, and also ApollonNutrition.com to check out all the great products. And if you're in the Edison, New Jersey area, highly recommend go visit the Apollon Gym. You will not be disappointed. As always, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.